Up in the last segment to our reporters being arrested yesterday outside McAllen, Texas, beside the Rio Grande River, openly going up and trying to talk to state police, trying to talk to the Border Patrol, trying to ask where they've been seeing movement, where they've been seeing groups coming across, is what the press does. We've done this in Arizona, New Mexico. Countless other news crews have done this. I mean, in Arizona, there's militias with, firearms out there aiding the Border Patrol in apprehending people. And I guess because we were nice to the state police and the Border Patrol, they then illegally arrested them, Zimmerman, Alley, and Biggs, and took their legal firearms and then tried to make them pay hundreds of dollars a piece to, quote, unimpound them. So I don't want to have to do this, but I'm going to have to sue them. I just have to do it because they hire these young people, these Border Patrol folks that now are just delivery agents for illegal aliens. The Border Patrol Union has said that on Fox News. We, quote, complete the smuggling process. So they make you put your hands up. And this is after our crew was driving around trying to interview people. Because, see, they're not threatening. They need to then practice pretending like they're Border Patrol on them. And of course, notice it's a very high ratio of female Border Patrol agents. This looks like this is some type of training op. You've got an older Border Patrol guy there, and then they've got the ladies out learning who the enemy is. And you really come to grips with the fact that the American people really are the enemy. Now, when you actually talk to the Border Patrol Union, they don't like what's happening. They understand they're being given orders that are criminal. The Supreme Court told Obama, stop doing what he's doing. It's illegal. He just said, I'm going to keep doing it. He even said, I'm going to keep doing it. So they just basically were able to upload some of this footage last night. More's coming up. Joe Biggs will join us with others, with the others that went through this. But I looked at the laws. I looked at, quote, the signs they have that just say state land. No trespass. Don't, secure area, not a fence. Just right there by a major town. And just says state land. So they then talk to them about what they're doing. They go, oh, we're down here with some cameras to catch the illegals coming across. Hidden cameras. Oh, come show us where they are. And then you go show them, and they arrest you. And it is an arrest when they take your firearms and put handcuffs on you and have you put your arms up and hold you for 2 hours and then take your firearms. Because God forbid a slave have a gun. Only these government bureaucrats out there acting tough in their snake leggings can have them. And I'll tell you why they're upset. The footage that Biggs and others shot of drugs being brought across the Rio Grande, nearby this area, and talking to the head of the emergency management, Mr. Pagan, who said, no, the Border Patrol brings them to us, the illegals get here, we load them on buses, give them vouchers, they're not tested for disease, and then we ship them into the United States. We have the Border Patrol, the head of emergency management for McAllen, all of it on tape. And our news it ends up being on ABC News, Fox News, Drudge Report, everywhere. And Congress is now talking about it. Repeatedly on the campaign trail, on national TV, Donald Trump plugs InfoWars and talks about our footage while he was in El Paso the day he was there. He came in the afternoon. That morning, we got the footage of the giant bales of drugs being brought in. And for that, they now, like highwaymen, robbed my reporters of their firearms. Let's start playing the clip from the past with Trump and then right through to today. Here it is.
What happened? So while we're there, you probably read it. It was in Drudge, who's great, by the way. Drudge is amazing. But the story in Drudge, and big story, it's all over the place now. Guys swimming across and big bags of stuff, drugs, swimming across the river, right? Swimming right across. And they put the drugs, and actually the camera crew or the reporters were petrified because they thought they were going to be killed because they're showing this on camera. The guy's carrying bags of stuff. It was drugs.
So
what happened today in particular is that the Border Patrol dropped off some, they call them detainees, but
right.
Obviously they're not detained after they drop them off.
Mm-hmm.
And normally they have tickets or arranged transportation to go somewhere in the interior. Well, today...
hit stop right there because there's more of this.
Some of them hadn't had transportation.
I'm going to come back after break and just play the whole thing again. See, they don't want us catching the drugs coming across And they don't want us catching the illegals coming across. So let me tell the militia and the patriots and the citizen reporter stuff. Going out and apprehending illegals to give them to the Border Patrol, who most of the time are ordered to turn them loose, is doing nothing. Information war is the way to go. So I'm going to have to get down to the border now. Oh, I'm coming. And I'm going to call on everybody to start going down to McAllen and exercising our First Amendment. Do you understand state police, and do you understand Border Patrol? You may be involved in treason and dereliction of duty. We're not scumbags! I'm trying not to get mad because I know that it is the criminal federal government, openly run by foreign mega banks that I'm about to list here in a moment, that are getting rid of our borders, bringing us into globalism and using compartmentalization to do it. But we have fought harder than anybody. And no one but DrudgeReport.com and WorldNet Daily have picked up the videos. We've gotten scores of them, of the Border Patrol loading the illegals, men, women, and children, in many cases with drug-resistant diseases like tuberculosis, onto buses. They're flying in refugees from the Middle East that are really Sunni pilgrims, Sunni homesteaders, Sunni radical jihad wagon trains. It's literally beyond a science fiction movie that it's so massive, and they've been covering it up, and then thank God it's finally in some news stories today. And then our reporters are down at the border, super polite, super nice, friendly body language. They know full well who we are, already talked to my reporters the day before, and then they got the orders to have them put their hands up and then take their firearms off their sides and then steal them. And I looked at the law. We've called the lawyers. I already knew this before I called lawyers. You can't sit there and just take people's firearms and make them pay, you know, 200 and something bucks a piece to get them back. I mean, this is just such a joke. But you know what? I'm glad you followed your illegal orders. I'm glad you did this, dirtbags. Because let me tell you something. You're showing America who you work for. Now, it's one thing if the head of the union comes out and says we're ordered to complete the smuggling process, it's illegal, Congress needs to stop it. That person isn't guilty. The head of the Border Patrol union in that sector wanted to talk to us and expose the diseases and how it was illegal. But I'm telling you, when you follow illegal orders and you confiscate people's camera equipment and go through it and treat us like criminals, when you knew all three of those people don't have criminal records and Joe Biggs is honorably discharged from the U.S. Army, decorated combat vet, and that's why he's the enemy. You hate us because we're good people exposing the crime against the country. And by the way, I'm not numb to all this, okay? I mean, it looks like a Baghdad bazaar at the Domain in North Austin, outdoor mall. Many nights at the Barton Creek Mall, it looks like that. The numbers are got to be over 1 million, folks. I mean, just Austin is crawling now, with people just walking down the street in full Islamic Guard, women's faces covered up, Somalis running around shooting guns out windows and driving through yards and screaming Allah Akbar and screaming we can rape your women under Sharia, and people being raped all over, in Islamic brainwashing camps opening up in high schools to, quote, teach you to accept the Islamification. And then the women come in and teach Islam, and they're not covering their faces, but at home they're all basically covering their faces up. I mean, they come here where all this freedom is and then tell us we've got to conform to them, and then the state police, along with the Border Patrol, and because I watched a bunch of the videos, they're up on Infowars.com. There's so much of it. We got to go through it all. Maybe some of the news crew can just dig through it and get me some of the clips for later when Joe Biggs and crew joins us in about an hour or less. But it's all up on Infowars.com. It's all up on the YouTube channel. We're writing articles about it right now. And it really is the war on the press because we're effective. Just last week, we've got the Border Patrol union head going, yes, we release 80% under orders. We release people that have drug-resistant TB, scabies, all these other diseases. It's horrible. It's unbelievable. And we believe the president should follow the Supreme Court's ruling and follow the law. just a year ago, they would arrest Border Patrol for talking like that. But that guy's putting his life on the line, his name on the line to tell the truth. And by the way, our article got almost no coverage. Drudge linked to it. Infectious tuberculosis is spreading across the country. 22% of the Islamics being brought in have it, according to the Associated Press. And, oh, but don't worry, interpreters needed for schools around the country to take the refugees, and they're not even testing them. Just to see what the government can get away with. I want to believe in the state police. I want to believe in the Border Patrol. I don't want to go along with the Soros line and have some stupid civil war. I'm not out to get anybody, but I'm going to tell you something. When law enforcement follows illegal orders, is involved in dereliction of duty, just following orders doesn't cut it, and when they sit there with this self-assured, imperious attitude, abusing the press and the First Amendment in this country, it makes me sick. It absolutely just infuriates me. But I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to call on everybody, because this is meant to be seen and scare everybody away from the border. I'm going to call for everybody to go down in press groups, organize with your church, whatever, and just go down there with cameras and show what's going on. Because they just think we're all going to sit here like cowards and let them cover up what's going on while the Border Patrol delivers the illegals, once they come across the border, to 3 hots and a cot, and then they're put on buses and sent wherever they want, private buses. And they don't like Donald Trump retweeting our stories, retweeting our articles, our videos. They don't like that. They don't like the fact he's exposing it in this election year. We're only a few months out. July, August, September, October. We are like 3-4 months out, 3.5 months out. And they don't want you to see this. And so that's one thing if criminal Hillary, crooked Hillary, and crooked jihadist Obama want to block us. I know they're the enemy. I know why they're doing it. But when I sit there and I see the state police bugging their eyes out at Americans and reporters who've got courage to defend this country, and I see your enjoyment at lapdogging to the enemies of this country, shame on you and shame on your family name. You have disgraced your family. You are disgraceful, disgraceful people. You are a shame to Texas and a shame to the United States of America. I know you don't care. You think it's funny, don't you? This country is getting ready to lose everything it's got and everything it ever has. And it's traitors like you, cowards and yes men and women, that are the reason this country's going to hell. I guess there have been Border Patrol agents that did their jobs and exposed the guns being shipped down to be shipped to Al-Qaeda. That's now confirmed. I guess they get killed. So I guess you kill a few of them. You kill a few of the men, and I guess you put in nothing but a bunch of women. And look, it's on average. It's not that women can't have courage. It's not. It's just known that tyrannies tend to put in women as their enforcers. And the most imperious, arrogant, aggressive people I've ever dealt with in, quote, law enforcement have almost always been women with chips on their shoulders who think they're married to the state like some Janet Reno. Got daddy issues. But when they violate the First Amendment, they violate everybody's rights. The articles are up on Infowars.com. It's the Border Patrol's sworn job to try to keep the diseases out, to try to check and make sure drug dealers and terrorists aren't coming in. And they've been ordered 3 years ago to stand down. They blew the whistle, so I said, great, they're doing their job. And then we start exposing it in the election cycle, and they now want to shut that down. There needs to be an investigation. Congress needs to look into what's happening. And the good news is they tried to 3 years ago deny this was even happening. Well, guess what? Now it's all being exposed. Just last week, Jakari got the key interview that's up on Infowars.com. I'm going to retweet it. This is what they don't want you to know. This is what our reporters have been arrested for. Border agent. That's head border agent, head of the union in that sector. Vast majority of illegals released in the country disease or no disease. And that's a fine headline, but the real headline is Border Patrol, we are ordered to release